Hello friends, I'm Angie.
I'm Michelle.
And we're Blue Heavens. In this video, we're going to continue doing the channeled session that we did with Loki, Lokaous, and Markus.
Yeah, and it was brought to our attention that due to some water sounds and stuff like that, Markus, maybe some viewers didn't hear what Markus had to say, and he did have a lot of good advice.
Yeah.
So we wanted to recap what Markus had said,
Yep.
and then give you all an update on what's been going on with Lokaous and Loki and Markus.
So let's dive in and see what everybody's been up to since our last video. Enjoy.
Enjoy. Hello.
Hi Markus, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
So you gotta catch us up on some stuff because we had some audio issues in our previous video. Sorry about that, y'all. We're learning.
Well, yes. Well, not a problem. It was brought to my attention that Lokaous had said that it threw me when the name Loki came up. I did a lot of this.
Yeah.
And I said a lot of horrible things about his father, but not about the mother, but I'd always about his father, out of protection. And then it was a fight over female energy, of course. And we were talking about the prodigal son. I unknowingly gave judgment to Loki, which could be why Loki has chosen these paths, maybe not, I'm not a positive sure, but I brought to my attention that I had rejected him a lot. He wanted to be his own, and I wanted him to follow my path. He didn't want to follow my path. He took my female energy, and I had just, all I could think about was just getting this female energy back. I couldn't find them. I had to go search, and when I find her in dire situation, Loki told me to take the sun, and he told me it's very difficult for me, only because recapping this is very difficult, because as a father, I'm realizing a lot through watching the videos. I just look so terrible. But I left him there in the squander. I took the baby. He asked me to please raise the baby because the baby, he didn't want that to be nothing like him, and I agreed. In my not loving, that was not love, and I took her and I took the baby and I left him. Maybe it was meant to happen, maybe it was not, but I left him in his own filth and that, and I raised the baby to be how I wished Loki would have been. And maybe I took some liberties away from Lokaous when I raised him the way I wanted him. I wanted to raise Loki and him to be what I wanted Loki to be. Right. And I'm seeing that was not fair. As the prodigal son, I had also mentioned in my video, the poor father was a very good dad, probably sitting in his chair and probably so worried about his son. Where's my son? And the pain in the eyes would have been just absolutely horrifying by the time he saw his son. He would have seen the hurt as I seen the hurt in my son's eyes. And I still see the hurt in my son's eyes. And as a parent, that's one of the worst feelings in the world. And I know you contributed to this. Yeah. When all of these lives that he has gone to, and he's been kicked out of the divine, and Atlantis divine, here Asgard, and and he hides in a cave. That does not make me feel any better. And then I take it back to the beginning, and I've asked Michelle to please help me. I've asked Lokaous, after watching the video, and I have seen my actions for themselves. Even sometimes beings have to take a step back and look at some of the things they have done. And Lokaous and Loki's fighting stemmed from me. There was a time where he came back the first time due to her begging, and I brought him back under conditions. This is, brother, this I told Lokaous. And he knew instinctively that was his father, and they would bond. It hurt me, because I wasn't getting that from Lokaous, but he was bonding with his father. Always in the back, what are they talking about? Well, Lokaous put a little temper tantrum. He was a little bitty guy now. He was, I don't know, in human years, very little. Enough where he didn't really remember. In dreams he would remember them, but this was the time he would not have remembered. He put a little temper. All I could see was Loki, and I thought Loki did something. I took Loki aside and I said, what did you do to him? What did you do as a terrible... Loki, he couldn't deal with it anymore, and he told me I had to leave. He looked at his son. He said, I can't deal with it. I'm your father. And Michelle followed, and I never blamed her. I said, make a choice, but she knew he was so broken, what is he going to do? She had to protect him, and I understand we're protectors.
Yeah.
She had to rescue and protect him, she felt. So she left. And because as she had told me later on, she knew that her son was in good hands with me. And that has made me realize that's good. Why did she leave? Because I needed some answers as well.
Yeah.
They came back a little bit after, and he had jumped, and these are things I needed to know about Lokaous. He told me what I would be teaching the other children. He would be sitting and he'd look at the stars, and he said he knew that his mom and dad were going to come, because I always made sure he knew, but it was always that with his father. But he'd always have a dream about his brother, and I never enlightened him, because that's how I was. And he told me he just dreamt of the day he could hug his father and his mother, because he would see his brother in dreams, and he just knew that was his dad, because he couldn't remember. And they came back briefly, and he went and he ran, and I don't know how old he would have been, maybe in your years, maybe 14, 15. He was in that, he would have remembered. And his father scoffed at him and went to talk to him and wouldn't hug him, and that was because I had told Loki before he left, if you ever come back, you will address him as Loki, or Lokaous, you will not address him as your son. You will not hug him, you will not address him, that came from me. And that hurt him, that hurt Lokaous. I didn't realize how bad that hurt him. Now, if anybody has seen that between Loki and Lokaous, I am a lot of the blame for these things, a lot of the misunderstandings. I sheltered Lokaous. I did not want him to be Loki. But what did I do is I created more of a problem, is what I created more of. And I have to acknowledge these things. I have to remember that it was a female energy. Of course, I was hurt, of course. But to watch that fight and the pain, and watching Lokaous and Loki feud, and watching Lokaous look at Loki and say, I don't have a dad. And I couldn't allow it. I was at that point, to be honest with all of you, which was terrible. Saturday, I had it where I could have had Lokaous just totally disown his father. I was kind of, Michelle said, that's not the right thing to do, Marcus. That's not the right thing to do. You know what you did. I had to take him aside, and I had to do the right thing. By divine law, that isn't fair. And I felt the pain in Lokaous' eyes when I told him. Of course, I had a lot of feedback. I deserved it. Loki, of course, I don't know. I rejected him, and he won't talk about that. I noticed he won't talk about the rejection that I had done, but I started all of that. And he never, in his video, he never said it all started with him. It just started at Atlantis, and that, but it really started with me. I was the beginning of all that rejection he would have felt. And so this is all, I'm adding the update from what I had said to what is going on now.
Right.
For those that would have seen my video and maybe wondering what would have been now different.
And you're taking accountability for things too. I mean, are there things in your life that you can take accountability for? I mean, you feel better?
I hurt because the repercussions are still brand new.
Okay.
And I'm a being. I'm an energy and I'm a being, so it's much different than how a human is going to take. Yeah, I have to take responsibility for, I did it for Michelle, and I did it because they are, when Lokaous was hurt, she took it upon herself, and you and your husband took it upon yourself to talk to him and get him to where I could even talk to him. He wandered off in my realm, and he wouldn't talk to me. He wouldn't talk to Loki. He barely talked to Michelle, and he was hurt. When the video aired Saturday, he would look at the views, and he started crying. He said, I look terrible. And I go, well, that's an ego. I don't have ego. I said, you have ego. You got your dad. And he watched the video, and at the time, when that was going on afterwards, they were still how they were, but he watched the video with Michelle, and I felt the pain. I could feel it. I felt the pain. I felt Loki's pain. I felt your pain. I felt everybody's. Lokaous took it personal. He felt like his father officially hated him. And after Michelle watched the video, and her kids, her daughter cried, Lokaous cried, and he cried all day. That was that deep heaviness. Michelle allowed him to her. He said, I just want to leave this realm. and that was devastating to Michelle to hear, all
Yeah.
because of things that I needed to be accountable for, and to watch that. And he's a being,
Right.
but he's had human, so he felt as well rejected. That part of his father, he felt rejected.
Yeah.
He didn't understand about the ego. He didn't understand his father telling him about different things. But I will let him tell everybody the things that he has found out.
Yeah.
And so, but I can tell you it hurt. And
And I can tell you it hurt. He was so hurt
he did
and
not want.
offended and scared and confused, and it was a lot just put on him all at once.
And also as well for people, you got to remember Loki was a young man. Atlantis was the secondary life he left after he left me. He was a young man, and that is
Yeah.
Lokaous. So
Yeah.
Lokaous is that young man that was the one striving for everything. That was Loki. And he as Loki has said, and Loki will say it a few times, he won't say it a lot, Lokaous actually accomplished what Loki had gone out to do. But I feel because of the things I have said and done in his early beginnings, be careful what you tell your children.
Yes.
I have found out the hard way.
Yeah.
I could have made things a little bit better for my son, and I have not. My other children are priests. The energies are very well. One's in nature. He walks in nature. I mean, I see the rest of my energies, but I see a broken energy. But I look at the pain in the eyes, and a lot of that's my responsibility. But I would have never really done it if it wasn't for these two and her husband. I'd like to thank helping Lokaous, helping me, because I have to be, as I said, I know things, but sometimes to take accountability is hard
Right. Yes.
to do. I don't,
It is hard to take accountability for
And-
things. It really is.
but I did it for them, and I did it for you guys.
Yeah.
And I did it for all of you to make an example. This was not easy. To look at my son still hating me is a pain that I will maybe, I don't know. It hurts. It really, to know you caused a lot of this.
Yeah.
But he won't acknowledge that. Now it's a different time. Maybe I would like in a lifetime to actually work that out with my son, and
Yeah.
it might not be. But my main is to make sure these two, to make sure Lokaous and Loki work their stuff out for now. Let me make
Yeah.
sure they work theirs, because nothing like watching Lokaous. And Michelle woke up Sunday, and Lokaous told Michelle, he says, I don't have a dad. And that broke her heart. And that's when you messaged, and she says, I need some help. But I will have him recap, and him and Loki, not recap, because that was terrible.
Yeah.
But through more calming,
Yeah.
Loki's more calm, and Loki's what he has wanted to say. So I'm going to back out, and I feel this is a good time for me to, because I'm starting to get emotional through her body. When I
Yeah.
channel, I start to feel emotions. I'm starting to feel like I want to cry, but I want to make sure Loki can come in safely without all of feeling this. So I'm going to back out and bring Michelle back, and then we can work on bringing Lokaous.
Okay.
So I bid everybody.
Thank you, Marcus.
Well, yeah. I don't know anything but that's what I'm going to give it a second so Loki can
Okay.
come through. But
Yeah.
talking to Marcus in the meditation state, and he listens, and Lokaous, it hurt him to see a lot of this was part of things. And I even told him, I said when I had seen that with Loki, he says, I see now why you followed. Somebody had to rescue him, because obviously I wasn't going to do it. And he is such a good being, and to hear he's trying to take accountability. But
Yeah.
being a being, that's hard, because emotions are something foreign.
Right.
But he knows that we're trying to help all of you. So this was very hard for Marcus to come out and to recap, because he asked me, do we have to recap?
Right.
But I told him, because we had from Jack Valentine, and that we wanted to make sure he got to hear and sum up what was said. So, but I can
Okay.
now. So I will touch your arm,
Okay.
and we'll bring Lokaous and a calm Loki.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Lokaous.
Hi, Loki.
Hi, son. How are you doing? I'm so sorry for what I said to you. That wasn't right. You told me that it irritated me when you said to me, "You go." I see the pain in your eyes. To me, I take that as a sign of weakness. I went off on you for all the pains that I have held on and hurt. And it wasn't fair to you. When you told me you disowned me, I thought Marcus got his way finally. I was so hurt. Like, I told Michelle, I think my life would just kill me now. I didn't realize I needed you in my life as much as I feel I needed you in my life. To know that what I did was out of love. I had to give you to Marcus. I had to do the things I had to do. I don't want you to feel my pain, but you ended up feeling my pain through another archangel. You did exactly what I told you. I didn't want you, and when I said I wanted you to feel my pain, I don't want you to feel my pain. I always will take that pain from you. I will never let you feel that pain. You were created, maybe a part of me was, you succeeded where I failed. And I wanted to always be a light in my father's eyes, and I was never that light, but you were that light. And instead of looking at you like being happy, I was more jealous of that. I'm in a dark cave and I'm hiding, and I see you out helping people and teaching, and you would back me out. And you would tell me these things, and maybe a part of me hurt because you didn't want my information or my input or my wisdom. And you have since watching that, and you have changed. You're now letting me talk. I have noticed a big difference. You went and you talked to the archangels as I had asked you, and you got that information. I will let you tell the people what you heard. And it upset me but he let you feel what I felt, and what she felt and what he said, and it hurt you to watch you upset and cry and disown me. It is not a great feeling, and I don't want you to ever feel, and I told you the first video we were going to make, I was going to apologize to you, and I'm apologizing to you. Know that I'm always going to be that sarcastic father. Know that I'm always going to throw the one-liners at you. Always know that I'm never going to be what you probably always wanted as a dad. But I want to be that brother that you remember. I want to be that brother that you remember. Your dad, but your brother. You remember all the great times we have had as when I was your brother. And when I come back, it was only because Marcus had told me, don't go to him. Don't go to him because you're going to destroy him. And you have to remember, I was just trying to protect you. I didn't want you to be me. I had already got kicked out. I'd already had my wings. I was already humiliated. By the time I seen you and I seen how great you were, you ran to me, and I rejected you. And through Michelle's eyes, I seen that hurt in your eyes, and Marcus's, it hurt me to know you had wished all that time for a father to come back, that brother, and then I come back and I just shut you down. So I deserve to be shut down as you had shut me down in the past. I deserved that. But I did say I was going to apologize, and I am apologizing from the bottom of my heart. I am so sorry I said that thing to you. If I could take it back, I don't want to take it back because it had to wake you up. To know my heart, son. You had to know my heart.
And
What is it, son? What is it?
it's Angie.
I know. Oh, this is Angela?
Yeah, I'm getting stung by little bees.
Okay. All right.
So give me a second. I get stung by little bees.
All right.
I'm sorry that I have dismissed you. This has all hurt us all so much. I'm glad Marcus has taken accountability. I'm glad that I see that I have placed judgment upon you. I'm glad that I see that I was not listening to you. I'm thankful the girls do this for us because they're healing us and they're helping us. I did talk to archangels.
And tell the people what he told you, son. Tell him what he told you.
Archangel Raphael said that when Angela's daughter got cancer, he started to open himself up to help them, but Archangel Michael will not. So we hope you enjoyed this video.
We enjoyed making it for you guys.
Until I got stung by bees. Which is ironic because in one of our previous channels, Marcus said that he wanted to touch bee booties, and instead the bee booties got me.
Wonk wonk.
Yeah. So I had to stop channeling because it was difficult.
Yeah, nothing like trying to channel and getting stung.
Right?
So yeah,
What was that?
Not good.
So the next video will continue, but instead of me channeling Lokaous, we just have Michelle channel Lokaous and I ask questions.
Yeah.
But it gets the information that we were looking for.
So yeah, because we don't want any bee buds. Did you get to pet the bee buds while they were staying?
No, I guess my back did.
Oh, did your back?
My back got to touch the bee buds. So maybe successful. Maybe it was a successful day.
Had I been paying attention to that, I should have been.
Yeah, smush them in there.
No, I didn't want to do that to you. Just caught up. No.
So we love you.
And thank you for joining us on this
absolutely.
beautiful day.
Yeah, it's beautiful today. It's a different day than when we recorded it, but it was a beautiful day then too.
And it's a beautiful day today too. And no bee buds.
No bee buds.
No bee buds. Yeah.
Remember, everything is beautiful.
It is most indeed beautiful.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
All beautiful everywhere.
Look around. It is beautiful and
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love you, and we
love
hope
you.
to see you in our next video. Bye, friends.